I shouldn't be here. I know this. Every rational part of my brain is screaming at me to turn around and leave, to walk away before things get out of hand. But I can't move. My feet feel rooted to the ground, anchored by something far more powerful than logic or reason. I take a deep breath, trying to steady the chaotic rhythm of my heart. The room is dimly lit, the only source of light coming from the soft amber glow of a single lamp on the far side. The shadows it casts flicker across the walls like dancing flames, teasing me, taunting me. I close my eyes for a moment, willing the image of him to disappear from my mind. But even in the darkness behind my eyelids, he is there. His face, his eyes, the way his lips curl into that half smile that I can't seem to resist. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I love James, my fiancé. He's everything I've ever wanted. Kind, dependable, loving. We've built a life together, a life that is solid and steady, grounded in years of shared experiences and mutual respect. But lately, I've felt a restlessness, a yearning for something I can't quite put my finger on. It's as though a small crack has formed in the foundation of my contentment, and through that crack, something else has seeped in. Something dark, something forbidden. That something is Adam. I don't know when it started, this attraction. It was subtle at first, a fleeting glance, a lingering touch. We work together, which makes it all the more complicated. At the office, we're professional, cordial, but there's always been an undercurrent, an unspoken tension that simmers just beneath the surface. I tried to ignore it, to pretend that it was nothing more than a harmless crush. But the more I tried to push it away, the stronger it became. I find myself thinking about him at odd moments, while I'm making dinner, while I'm watching TV with James, even in the middle of the night when I can't sleep. The thoughts are relentless, invading my mind like an insidious virus. I've tried to suppress them, to banish them with thoughts of James and our life together, but it's no use. Adam has wormed his way into my consciousness, and now he's all I can think about. It's not just physical, though there's no denying the pull of that aspect. There's a connection between us, something that goes beyond mere attraction. We talk, really talk, in a way that I haven't with anyone in a long time. He gets me, understands me in a way that James, for all his wonderful qualities, doesn't. There's a spark, an electricity that crackles in the air whenever we're together, and that's what scares me the most. I never wanted this. I never wanted to be the kind of woman who would even entertain the idea of infidelity. The very thought makes my stomach churn with guilt. But here I am, standing in front of his door, my hand hovering just inches from the handle. I should go. I should turn around and walk away, back to the safety and security of my life with James. But I can't. The pull is too strong, the temptation too great. I'm caught in a web of desire and guilt, and I don't know how to extricate myself. The door opens, and there he is, standing in the doorway, looking at me with those intense, dark eyes that seem to see right through me. My breath catches in my throat, and for a moment I'm paralyzed, unable to speak, unable to move. "I didn't think you'd come," he says, his voice low and rough around the edges. There's something in his tone, a mix of surprise and something else, something that sends a shiver down my spine. "I shouldn't be here," I whisper, my voice barely audible. It's a weak protest, and I know it. "But you are," he replies, stepping aside to let me in. I hesitate for the briefest of moments before crossing the threshold, sealing my fate with a single step. The door closes behind me with a soft click, and suddenly the air feels thick, charged with anticipation. I can feel the heat radiating from his body as he steps closer, closing the distance between us. My heart is pounding in my chest, so loud I'm sure he can hear it. He reaches out, his fingers brushing lightly against my arm, and a jolt of electricity shoots through me, igniting something deep inside. "Why are you here, Emma?" he asks, his voice soft, almost a whisper. There's a challenge in his eyes, daring me to answer truthfully. I swallow hard, struggling to find the words. I don't know, I finally admit, my voice trembling. It's a lie, of course. I know exactly why I'm here. But saying it out loud would make it too real, too dangerous. He doesn't say anything, just watches me with those piercing eyes, waiting, giving me the space to either come to my senses and leave, or to give in to the temptation that's been gnawing at me for weeks. My mind is a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. On the one hand, there's the guilt, the knowledge that I'm betraying James, the man I love. On the other hand, there's the undeniable attraction, the need, the longing that has been building up inside me for so long. Before I can think about it too much, before I can talk myself out of it, I close the distance between us, pressing my lips to his in a kiss that's hungry, desperate, filled with all the longing and desire I've been trying to suppress. He responds immediately, his arms wrapping around me, pulling me closer, deepening the kiss. My mind goes blank, and all I can focus on is the feel of him against me, the taste of his lips, the way his hands are roaming over my body, setting my skin on fire. I shouldn't be doing this, but it feels so good, so right in a way that I can't explain. Every rational thought, every ounce of guilt is drowned out by the sheer intensity of the moment. He breaks the kiss, his forehead resting against mine, his breath coming in short, ragged gasps. "Emma," he murmurs, his voice strained with the effort to maintain control. "We don't have to do this." But we both know it's too late for that. The line has been crossed, and there's no going back. I want him, I need him, and in this moment, that need eclipses everything else. "Please," I whisper, the word escaping my lips before I can stop it. It's a plea, a surrender to the storm that's been raging inside me for so long, and with that single word, I give myself over to the desire, the need that's been consuming me. He doesn't hesitate. His lips find mine again, more urgent this time, his hands moving with purpose as he explores my body, his touch igniting a fire that burns away any lingering doubts. The world outside fades away, leaving just the two of us, lost in the moment, in each other. I don't know how long we stay like that, tangled together, our bodies moving in sync, driven by a need that feels almost primal. Time seems to lose all meaning, and I lose myself in the sensation, in the way he makes me feel alive, desired, wanted in a way that I haven't felt in a long time. But as the intensity of the moment begins to wane, as the reality of what I've done starts to seep back in, the guilt comes crashing down on me like a tidal wave. I pull away, my breathing ragged, my heart pounding in my chest. I can't meet his eyes, too ashamed of what I've done, of what I've allowed myself to do. I should go, I stammer, my voice shaky, laced with guilt and regret. I can't believe I let it get this far. How could I have been so reckless, so selfish? "Emma," he begins, but I shake my head, cutting him off. I can't bear to hear what he has to say, can't bear to face the reality of what I've just done. "No, I can't do this," I say, more to myself than to him. I feel like I'm suffocating, the weight of my actions pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. I need to get out of here, to put as much distance between us as possible before I completely fall apart. I turn and practically run for the door, my mind a blur of emotions, guilt, shame, confusion, and something else. Something I'm not ready to confront just yet. I hear him call my name as I fumble with the handle, but I don't stop, don't look back. The cool night air hits me like a slap to the face as I step outside, and I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself. My hands are shaking, and I feel like I'm on the verge of tears, How could I have done this? How could I have let things get so out of control? But even as the guilt threatens to consume me, there's a small part of me, buried deep down, that can't help but replay the moments we shared, the way he made me feel, the way I wanted him. And that scares me more than anything else. I walk away, my steps unsteady, my mind racing. I don't know what I'm going to do, how I'm going to face James, how I'm going to live with what I've done. The guilt is overwhelming, almost suffocating in its intensity. With every step I take, it claws at me, demanding that I confront the consequences of my actions. I clutch my coat tighter around myself, as if the fabric could somehow protect me from the storm of emotions raging inside. As I walk down the darkened street, the city around me feels unfamiliar, like a place I no longer belong to. The familiar sounds and sights are now tainted by the weight of my betrayal, and I can't shake the feeling that everything has changed. My mind is a tangled mess of conflicting emotions, guilt, shame, confusion, and underneath it all, a lingering, dangerous thrill. When I finally reach my apartment, I'm exhausted, emotionally, physically, mentally. My hand trembles as I unlock the door, and I pause for a moment, my heart pounding in my chest. I know what awaits me on the other side. James, the man who trusts me implicitly, who loves me without question. How am I supposed to face him after what I've done? But I don't have a choice. I can't stand out here forever, hiding from the reality of my actions. I push the door open and step inside, closing it softly behind me. The apartment is quiet, the only sound the faint ticking of the clock on the wall. The air feels thick, heavy with the weight of my guilt. I find James in the living room, sitting on the couch with a book in his hands. He looks up as I enter, a warm smile spreading across his face. It's a smile that's so familiar, so comforting, and yet, in this moment, it only makes the guilt twist harder in my gut. "Hey, you're home late," he says, his voice filled with genuine warmth and affection. He stands up, setting the book aside, and walks over to me, wrapping his arms around me in a hug. "Everything okay?" I nod, forcing a smile onto my face, even though it feels like my heart is breaking. "Yeah, just a long day at work," I reply, my voice barely above a whisper. The lie tastes bitter on my tongue, but what else can I say? He pulls back slightly, studying my face with concern. "You look tired," he says softly, brushing a strand of hair away from my face. "Why don't you sit down? I'll make us some tea." I nod again, too emotionally drained to argue. He kisses my forehead gently before heading into the kitchen, leaving me standing there, feeling like I'm on the edge of an emotional breakdown. I collapse onto the couch, burying my face in my hands as tears start to well up in my eyes. What have I done? The enormity of my betrayal hits me full force, and I can't hold back the tears any longer. They spill over, sliding down my cheeks as silent sobs rack my body. I've hurt the person I love most in this world, and the worst part is, he doesn't even know it. I wipe my eyes quickly as I hear James coming back into the room, not wanting him to see me like this. But the tears don't stop, no matter how hard I try to push them down. When he sits beside me, placing a warm cup of tea in my hands, I can barely manage to meet his gaze. "Hey," he says gently, his voice full of concern. "What's wrong? Did something happen at work?" I shake my head, unable to form the words to explain what I'm feeling. How can I possibly tell him the truth? How can I tell him that I've betrayed his trust? That I've done something so unforgivable? But as I sit there, feeling the warmth of the tea seeping through the cup into my hands, something inside me snaps. I can't do this. I can't keep lying to him, pretending that everything is okay when it's not. He deserves to know the truth, no matter how much it will hurt him, no matter how much it will destroy everything we've built together. James, I begin, my voice trembling with the weight of what I'm about to say. There's something I need to tell you. He looks at me, his expression softening with worry. What is it? I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself. I did something terrible, I finally managed to say, my voice cracking under the strain. The words hang in the air between us, heavy and ominous, like a storm cloud ready to burst. He doesn't say anything at first, just watches me, waiting for me to continue. The silence is unbearable, and I force myself to meet his gaze, even though it feels like it's tearing me apart. I've been seeing someone, I confess, the words coming out in a rush, as though I'm trying to get them out before I lose my nerve. I didn't mean for it to happen, but it did. I'm so sorry, James. I never wanted to hurt you. The look of shock and pain that crosses his face is like a knife to my heart. He stares at me, his eyes wide with disbelief, as though he can't quite comprehend what I've just said. I can see the hurt, the betrayal in his eyes, and it makes me want to crawl into a hole and disappear. Emma, what are you saying? His voice is barely a whisper, thick with emotion. I feel the tears start to fall again, and I reach out to him, desperate to make him understand, even though I know it's hopeless. I'm so sorry, I repeat, my voice breaking. I never wanted this to happen. I love you, James. I do. But I made a terrible mistake. He pulls away from me, standing up and running a hand through his hair, his expression one of utter devastation. How could you do this? He asks, his voice raw with emotion. How could you betray me like this? I shake my head, unable to answer. There's no excuse, no justification for what I've done. I've destroyed the trust between us, shattered the foundation of our relationship, and I don't know if there's any way to fix it. The silence stretches on, heavy and oppressive, and I can feel the weight of my actions pressing down on me, suffocating me. I want to say something, anything to make this right, but I know there's nothing I can say that will erase the hurt I've caused. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, James speaks again, his voice quiet, resigned. I need some time to think, he says, his tone flat, devoid of the warmth that was once so familiar. I don't know if I can forgive this, Emma. I need to be alone. His words cut through me like a knife, but I nod, understanding. He stands up and walks toward the bedroom, leaving me sitting on the couch, feeling more alone than I've ever felt in my life. As the door to the bedroom closes behind him, I'm left with nothing but the sound of my own ragged breathing and the crushing weight of my guilt. I don't know what the future holds, whether our relationship can survive this, or if I've lost the one person who meant everything to me. All I know is that I've made a terrible mistake and now I have to live with the consequences.